guys, hoping all is well. So in this video we're going to be continuing our read along of the Crime Traveler's Adventure Series, Book 1, Brainwashed by Paul Aertker. And last time we completed Chapter 14, so we're going to be continuing today with Chapter 15. And as always, although there aren't any illustrations in most of the Crime Traveler's Adventure Series, please feel free to follow along. Excuse me. Chapter 15. The Lucky Office. Luck was all they had left. The Kurukians stood guard in the hallway while Magnus and the two security officers led Astrid, Jackknife, Herve, Lucas, and Jeannie into the room. The hotel had been converted into an interrogation cell, a rectangular room with only one door and no windows. From the ceiling, a tin lamp dangled, casting a cone of white light on the table. The small silver box Lucas had seen in the airplane video was also on the table. Magnus took the device and attached it to the wall next to the light switch. The wall monitors immediately began clicking through live security camera images of the streets of Paris. Miss Guennero sat at the opposite end of the table. In front of her, she had a mobile phone, a silver canister, and a bowl of frozen green peas. The poodle in pink panted at her side. Lucas estimated their odds of getting out of the room safely at 100 to 1. They would need lots of luck and lots of skill. From his way of thinking, the only tool remaining was Astrid's obnoxious lawyer-like arguments. His sister didn't take long to load her words. "Gosh," she started, "it's freezing in here." "Isn't it wonderful?" hissed Miss Guennero. She pointed at a giant air conditioning vent in the floor. "I had the technician divert all the cold air in the hotel to me." "It's wasteful," sassed Astrid, "and disrespectful. Everyone else in the hotel is sweating." For a second, Miss Guennero seemed a little surprised that a child, was challenging her. She quickly recovered. "It's my hotel. I'll do what I want," said Miss Guennero with a sinister chuckle. "Besides, good guests will always pay extra for all things good." She sat up. "Now please sit, and do tell me why you are paying me this wonderful visit." Two guards snapped into action. The name tag on the tall, lanky teenager read Gober Bradis, Nuke, Greenland. There were specks of powdered sugar on his thin, blonde mustache. The other guard had roundish everything. Glasses, cheek, belly. His name tag read Ekki, Aloud, Ekki, Reykjavik, Iceland. Acting more like waiters than security officers, Gober and Ekki gracefully pulled out chairs for the children. As they sat, Jeannie wiggled free from Lucas and crawled along the table to Miss Guennero's end. She stabbed both hands into the bowl of peas and began shoveling them into her mouth. "I thought I got rid of this baby," said Miss Guennero. "I hate babies." Astrid huffed. "You just told that group of reporters outside that you love babies." "Young lady," said Miss Guennero, glaring back, "what we say in public is not always what we mean in private. This is the way the grown-up world works." Forever the lawyer, Astrid fired away. "Is kidnapping the way the grown-up world works too?" "If you're making reference to my charity work with children, then you are sorely mistaken. So many children would lead miserable, boring lives if it weren't for me and my good companies." While Miss Guennero and Astrid argued, Magnus stood behind Herve and flipped through photographs in a white binder. He stopped at a picture and showed it to everyone at the table. "Herve Pivifanas," said Magnus, shaking his head. "This is an old picture of you, but I knew I recognized you. Look at you now, helping the Globe Hotel. Or are you actually with the New Resistance?" "Don't bother," said Miss Guennero. "Half-washed kids always come and go. Herve will do what I say when I need him the most. I will always own him." Magnus eyed Jackknife. "And you're Paulo Cabral," he said, a.k.a. Jackknife. "Yeah?" Jackknife smirked. Had you on file for years, said Magnus. Jackknife was sarcastic. It's a pleasure to meet you in person. Here's your old mugshot, like a dad showing pictures. Magnus held up a photograph of Jackknife drinking from a sippy cup. Let's get an updated photo. Magnus aimed his photo at Jackknife. Good, he said. You're from Bolivia, right? Brazil. Same thing, muttered Magnus. Magnus slapped another plastic page in his binder and then stared at Lucas and Astrid. And you two must be John Bean's kids. Miss Guennero wiped what seemed to be a green pea juice from her lips. I thought they all died in that ferry accident with the mother. Yes, the kids and everyone on the boat died, said Magnus, but the mother had left the daughter with John Beans in Las Vegas. Miss Guennero pointed a long fingernail at Astrid. That must be you, she said. Just like your mother. Confrontational. Astrid stood. Don't talk about my mother that way. Oh, I knew Kate, said Miss Guennero. Very well. You knew my mother? Miss Guennero smiled wryly. Kate Beans worked for me. Smart and always doing the right thing. She was VP at both Good Books and the Good Hotel. Yes, VP. Very picky, she said. Regardless, I too lost a lot in that accident. What? Jackknife's voice cut across the table. Her mother died in that accident. Then he slightly bent the truth. And all her adopted siblings. Everyone on that boat died. It was a tragedy. Mrs. Guennero's face was cold. But Kate, as always, was trying to do the right thing. And she stole some very important account information from me. And those numbers supposedly died with her. The room went quiet. Lucas's brain ran through every number he had ever seen in his entire life. So then, said Magnus, slowly pushing Astrid back into her chair, what are your names? Lucy and Asterix? Lucas and Astrid, said Astrid. Thank you very much. Magnus snapped 2 quick photographs of Lucas and Astrid. So, said Magnus confidently, Lucas must be the kid from the other marriage, the divorce John Beans had. Lucas said nothing. John Beans had never been divorced, but Lucas wasn't about to help Magnus correct this wrong information. The less they knew about Lucas and where he'd come from, the better. What's your name again? Astrid said defiantly. Mr. Mango? Miss Guennero peered over her cat-eye glasses and leaned in. Her breath smelled like of Coca-Cola Light, strawberry bubblegum, and cigarettes. Either this baby has a gas problem, she said, or this dog needs to go out. She threw the leash across the room to Ekki. Take this beast outside, she said, then boasted, the paparazzi loved my entrance with the dog today, didn't they? But enough is enough. I'd throw the baby out too, but... She pointed at Astrid. Little Miss Do-Right here would argue up a storm. Like mother, like daughter. Stammered Ekki, clipping the leash to the dog's collar. Taking the dog out is new guy work, isn't it? Ekki then handed the dog leash to Gober. Here, he said dumbly. You take it. And watch out for the Paris pooper cycle cop. He'll give you a ticket if you don't pick up. The what? Said Gober. Magnus quickly checked the wall monitors, showing updated street views from Paris's security cameras. Go with him, said Magnus, and pick up some oranges. Ekki's brow furrowed. What for? Siba Guennero flipped her phone around, showed the screen with the text oranges. Because, said Magnus, Herve let us know that the new resistance code was oranges. I'm sure there are plenty of other new resistance sympathizers still roaming around Paris. We want to talk with them. Miss Guennero chuckled in a sardonic tone. The new resistance code this time has been raised to Code Orange. How witty. Then Miss Guennero pointed at the two guards. Get out! I have a very large order to fill tomorrow night. Ekki, Gober, and the dressed-up poodle squirmed out of the room. Lucas looked across the table at his sister, hoping she had more verbal ammunition that would change their situation. In hotel school, Astrid could ask so many questions that the teacher forgot about teaching. Astrid pointed to the silver canister on the table. That's dry ice, isn't it? Freon, Miss Guennero smiled. The blood of air conditioning. Freon's toxic, argued Astrid. It's good for you, said Miss Guennero. Astrid fired back. It's bad for the ozone. In his mind, Lucas marked another win for Astrid. Who cares about the ozone? Said Miss Guennero. Global warming is a hoax. But, said Jackknife, why would you ever carry Freon or dry ice around you with you anyway? I adore the cold, said Miss Guennero. My father was from Norilsk, and he named Siberia after me. Or was it the other way around? Magnus coughed. Mr. Magnus here, said Miss Guennero. Mr. Magnus here, said Miss Guennero, thinks you may have information about the Eiffel Tower. Astrid eyed Lucas and Jackknife. Lucas knew the look. All they had to do was follow Astrid's lead and treat this woman as a substitute teacher and bombard her with ridiculous comments and questions. Death by middle school. The Eiffel Tower, Astrid said smartly. We know a lot. Well, Miss Guennero coughed. Do tell. Astrid started. The Eiffel Tower was built in 1889. Made of iron, said Jackknife. It weighs 10,100 metric tons. Lucas guessed. More than 2 million rivets. Ribbit? Said Jackknife, making a frog sound. 1,665 steps, said Lucas. That's enough, Miss Guennero spat. I'm talking about security. While Lucas, Jackknife, and Astrid were bombarding Miss Guennero, Herve was actually laughing. Lucas saw the lawyer and Astrid light up again. Wait a minute. You lost the security contract to guard the tower, she said. So you had your Karukian boys kill those tourists, didn't you? You mugged and killed tourists so the new security company would look bad, really bad, and you'd get your contract back. Jeannie slipped her little hands on the table. Bad, she mimicked. Then she stuffed more green peas in her mouth. I saw a sign about that carnival, said Jackknife. You mugged and killed tourists at the Eiffel Tower, days before your carnival. That doesn't make sense. Buffball, Jeannie said. That's enough, snorted Miss Guennero. Tell that little boy to be quiet. She's a girl, snorted Lucas, Astrid, and Jackknife said together. Girl, Jeannie echoed. Astrid and Miss Guennero were now locked in a death stare. Miss Guennero snatched the bowl of peas from Jeannie. Pea, said Jeannie. Pea, pea. Lucas kept quiet and watched. Herve snickered, and Jackknife picked up the pestering where Astrid had left off. He reached across the table and drummed his fingers on Miss Guennero's mobile phone. Hey, Madame Guennero, said Jackknife. If you're going to keep us here all day, can I play games on your phone? Don't touch my phone, she said, slapping the phone back under her hand. Magnus, get some Karukian boys down here. Now. Astrid didn't miss the chance. There's no such thing as Karukians. They're from Ravish Karuk, said Magnus. Lucas said, We all know geography. Yeah, Jackknife jumped in. There is no Ravish Karuk. Jeannie burped. Karuk. Miss Guennero had had enough. You argumentative little nannies, she cried. You all should have your mouths washed and brains washed too. It was clear that the world leader in child labor didn't like spending that much time with children. Miss Guennero slammed the dry ice canister on the table, sprang from the chair, and whacked her head on the hanging lampshade. Ah! Spat Miss Guennero as she pushed Charles Magnus. They stormed out of the room, leaving the 5 children alone. The electronic locks bolted the door with a series of metal clangs. Herve, Jackknife, Astrid, and Lucas sat in the sterile office and listened to Miss Guennero's hysterical arguments outside the locked door. Like a little Buddha, Ginny sat on the table with a bowl of peas now between her legs. Questions swirled in Lucas's mind. Apparently, everyone else had unanswered problems too. Herve, Astrid asked, so you really used to be part of the good company? Correct. I was, in the past, he said defensively. My father was head of a chemical division in China, and of course, as a child, I worked all the time alongside him. I was one of the first to be tested with brainwashing drugs. Some worked, others made me bald. But then I burned myself on the ledge in a chemistry lab with a new substance on which my father was working, and it is why I cannot run correctly now. Lucas furrowed his brow. I thought you said you had bone marrow cancer. I lied, said Herve. I am sorry. If I had told you the truth in the beginning, you would never believe me now. In an odd way, Herve seemed to make sense. But trying to put true and false information in the right categories was exhausting. I am on your side. Honest, Herve pleaded with a shrug, and I have access that no one else has. Lucas, said Astrid, in the beginning, you were right about Herve not telling the whole truth. But I think right now he's giving us a lot of information. Lucas began to soften. He knew he had been right and wrong, at least partly. He nodded at Herve and Astrid. So, Herve, Astrid continued, why does Miss Guennero have the same room number that we have in Las Vegas? Numbers mean different things to different people, said Herve. Madame Guennero may be using 777 for a symbol of trust, while in Las Vegas you probably use 777 as a symbol of luck. But luck, said Jackknife, can be good or bad. It depends on how you choose to see things, said Herve. Next, said Astrid, keeping up the barrage of questions, what is Rafish Karuk? It's not really a place. Or is it? But of course, said Herve, Ravish Karuk is and is not a place. It is how I would say, an emigration of different places. You either mean, said Astrid, clarifying, an anagram or an amalgamation. Maybe yes, maybe no, Herve explained. It is a good company name. It is an anagramation of US, UK, CHI, RF, FRA, the initials of all the members of the United Nations Security Council, the United States, the United Kingdom, China, Russia, and France. What? Lucas said. I thought the UN was supposed to be good. The good company is not. Again, said Herve, it depends on how you choose to see things. Astrid rolled her eyes. Kerala's right. Everything's upside down with this company. I can't deal with this. Jackknife nodded. If the good company controls the United Nations, then they could do whatever they want and have the backing of the world. Every country would support what the good was doing. Outside the door, Miss Guennero was chewing someone out. The kids glanced toward the noise. Astrid declared, We should go to the safe house. Where is that? Herve sprang back to life. I am looking for it all of the times. Lucas knew Herve was helping them out a lot, but the French kid was maybe a little too excited. Half-washed brain could mean half helping the new resistance, half helping the good company. Lucas was in no hurry to make a mistake. It's the, Lucas paused, trying to think of the opposite of the Shakespearean Company bookshop. It's at the Café à l'Abri, just across the street from the hotel. Jackknife added to the white lie. Yeah, he said, we chose that spot because it was so close to the good hotel. The look on Herve's face was puzzled. Very strange indeed, he said. But, okay. Things are always in reverse with the good company. Lucas was interested. Why do you say that? Herve paused. The Café l'Abri is where Madame Guennero likes to take refuge. She owns the place and often takes her business there. What do you mean, business? Jackknife asked. It suffices to say, said Herve, that you don't want to do business with Madame Guennero at the Café l'Abri. It is the beginning of the end for you. Astrid turned the question back on Herve. So the Café à l'Abri is a hideout, she said. Is there some sort of safe house for the good company? In Paris, the Carukians may have many secure houses, Herve explained. There is Bois de Boulogne, Saint Denis, and an apartment building near the Sacred Heart, where the brainwashing ceremony begins. Lucas memorized the places and then asked, How do you know which apartment building it is? That group loves fire, Herve said. Look for a burned car. But at the Sacred Heart safe house, you also have to watch out for Suddenly, the door opened, and Miss Guennero and Magnus barged back into the room, silencing them all. And I'll stop the video there, ending chapter 15. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, please take good care of yourselves, be safe, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time, where we'll be continuing our read-along of the Crime Travelers Adventure Series Book 1, Brainwashed, with chapter 16. And I'll see you guys soon.